Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Rustin Mod. In this episode, we're going to try to get the Rambler back up and running after sitting for 6 months in our garage after being left neglected after a part abuse at LS Fest. So we're going to pull it in the shop, see what we can fix, and then hopefully we can get this thing back on the road so we can go through the entire car to get it ready for Hot Rod Power Tour this year. So stay tuned and we'll see what we can find. Alright, pulled this thing into the shop here. So, if you guys saw the episode where we were stuck on the side of the road in LS Fest, we figured that one of our fuel pump wires has either flown a fuse or broken or something, because we have this thing really crudely wired just to get it running. So, we're actually going to go through the entire car and install a new wiring harness with a fuse box and everything like that to make this thing 100%. But before we do that, I want to get it running and figure out what happened, because I'd like to drive it around to see if we have any other mechanical issues. Whenever we were at LS Fest, we had noticed that it had some mechanical noises coming from the rear, so I want to get that addressed, get it running and driving before we tear the whole thing down. So let's figure this thing out. Alright, so where we left off was our main fuse blew, and we ended up having to go back and trying to figure out what happened. We got a new fuse put in on the side of the road, and then the fuel pump just stopped working. So we kind of gave up and put it back on the trailer. So I want to go pull this rear tire off, check the fuel pump, and see if it's getting voltage. If it's not, then we know it's a wiring issue. And if it is, then we know that the fuel pump is bad. Alright, so I gotta take this bolt out, and then this is our heat shield thing that keeps the fuel pump away from the tire and the exhaust, so that way it doesn't overheat or anything. So we gotta pull that out of the way, and then we can check, see if that fuel pump is getting voltage. Alright, well, looking in here, it looks like this ground is really loose, so I'm gonna tighten that up, check it again, but this ground is very loose. Hopefully that might be an easy fix. If not, we'll have to check to see if it's getting voltage. Alright, tried that. That wasn't the problem. It definitely was not helping. So I'm gonna go try to turn the fuel pump on constantly and see if we can get some signal back here. Okay, I'm gonna turn it on, and I'm going to turn the Holly to be able to turn the fuel pump on all the time. So I'll go up here to the fuel pump prime, and I have it on for 5 seconds. I'll just turn it up all the way, and then see if that, I heard the relay click, and then I'll just check the voltage to it to make sure it's not getting voltage.
So no, you're not getting power back.
Or yeah, no power, yeah.
Alright. Well.
Alright, so we're gonna have a power probe. So we're just going to try to jump, make sure that this works. Yep, that fuel pump works. So now we got to trace this wire, see where it's disconnected. Alright, kind of figured this mess out. This is why we're going to go through and rewire this whole thing. But basically we had a wire back here. It was, this wire was hooked to the key on, and the wire ended up burning up and disconnected, and that disconnected our fuel pump, which is here. So now all we have to do is hook this wire up to the battery, and then the fuel pump should work again. All right, got that wire hooked here, and then it's just ran directly to the battery. Just, you know, we're just testing this out. So now we're gonna see if that works. Okay, flip the switch. Get the fuel pump. Oh, I have the fuel pump constantly running. Let me change that. All right, got the fuel pump running. Fire right up. Been a long time since this thing's run. 50 pounds of oil pressure. Definitely has a lifter tick. Cool. All right, I'll let it warm up. Green outside. All right, seems to be running pretty good. Let it run a little bit. Sounds like that lifter tick went away. Just gotta build some oil pressure. But it's back and running. Now I can drive it around and see what mechanical things I need to sort out before I rip all the wiring harness and rewire the whole thing and fix the fuel cell. So we're gonna get all that stuff sorted, but it seems to run pretty good. This little LS1 that we got probably has 150,000 miles on it. It did have heads and cam done before we got it, but it seemed it's pretty much bottom end wise, it's pretty much stock. And I mean, this thing just gets beat on constantly and then parked and then starts up and gets beat on again. And it's literally had no issues. It's a really, really good motor. So hopefully we can get this car sorted and drive it all the way to Power Tour. All right, guys, got the Rambler pulled out here. We're gonna try to take it for a drive and see if I can find any mechanical issues. There's like a squeaking noise in the back whenever you drive. It sounds almost like an axle or something. So I'm gonna put a GoPro in the back to see if I can hear what it is. And we're gonna see if we can maybe lift it up, figure out what is making this noise in the back. Then we can get it back and we can start tearing this thing down. But I just want to get all the mechanical issues sorted before I rip all the wiring harness out of it so we can't drive it anymore. So let's see what this thing is. All right, so we're gonna just drive this thing around real quick. I want to see what's making this noise in the back. So we're just trying to get some rotational noise and see what's up here. Hear it already almost. Yeah. What is that? It almost sounds like a...
Sounds on your side.
Like a brake? Or like dust shield or something?
Definitely, yeah.
I'll put a GoPro out back. Well, hopefully you can hear it. Let's see how it kind of goes away with RPM. Well, like the wheels spinning.
Yeah, it's like a faster it's spinning.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. We'll have to put it up in the air and try to spin it, like spin the wheel, and see if we can see anything rub.
That thing gets excited.
What's an LS1?
Yeah, baby.
150,000 miles on it. Get that on video.
Yeah.
What the? Oh no, God.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
Oh no. How is this not hooked up?
I bailed.
I don't know. All right, that was a huge mistake. I just drove this car a little bit ago, just around the block, and the hood was latched. So we just tried to drive it down the road here, and the hood flew up and hit it. Luckily, I'll show you guys the damage. It's not too bad, but it's not like these hoods I can replace, so I gotta be able to fix it. Here's the hood. It does have a bow right here, and it's down here, but I think I can fix that. There's a crease right here. Thank God it didn't hit the windshield and crack it, because this windshield is impossible to find. So, man, that was stupid, but I think we got lucky. It doesn't look too bad. We can definitely bend that back. Man, you can see here it's down. But we got lucky. Always check the hood latch on your car, especially if you have hood pins and no safety. So, of course, the hood latch that haunted me, that I kept trying to not fix and just put hood latch pins on it, ended up biting me. Really unfortunate about this hood. It's pretty upset about that. It's not like you can go out and find another one of these. I guess I didn't latch it. I guess that's what happened. I definitely think that I did latch it. Last time I drove it down the street, and it didn't fly up or anything like that. And it was going normal speeds, just like we were doing there. So, not really sure what happened, unless, you know, somebody just popped them open and was looking at the car or something, that, you know, was just checking it out and forgot to latch it. Not really sure, but it is what it is now. The hood is bent. So that's going to be next on the list, which we didn't figure. You can see the hinges are both bent. This whole front end is completely misaligned from whenever we put the car together, so just gives us an excuse to straighten everything out. I think I can get the hood fixed. It definitely could have been a lot worse. It could have broken the windshield and dented the roof. So, being the hood is the only casualty, and you can see the bend in it. It's not too bad, but it is definitely a really big bummer. So, I'm gonna try to get this thing straightened out, pull the hood off. You can see it in the light now, the crease it has on around the whole thing. But we can get it out. We built the whole car. We can fix this. Anyway, the whole point of driving it, and you could kind of hear it in the video, was that squeak in the back. And whenever we took this thing to LS Fest, we realigned the whole back of the car. So I'm gonna jack it up, pull the tire off, and see if we can hear anything rubbing in the back here. See if we can see any marks or anything like that. So let's jack it up real quick, take a look underneath here, and see what it looks like. So I just pulled this tire off of the car, and it's completely flat. Now we're doing some burnouts, but should not have popped the tire. It was hardly anything. So it looks like that noise we're hearing is something cutting the edge of this tire. You can see this mark around the outside of it, and it ended up cutting it right here, which is pretty crazy. So that really sucks, because if you remember, we had an issue, a rubbing issue like this before on this tire, which this tire isn't very old, and it was the alignment of the rear suspension. So I guess something has moved in the rear suspension to cause the tire to contact this bracket here, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. So I guess something has caused the rear suspension to move since we aligned it and hit this bracket here. It's hitting, it looks like it's hitting right on the point there. Now these are our control arms in the back suspension here, and then we have multiple adjustment points, but it looks like I would think that it's hitting right here, right on that edge. So it's hard to tell. You could see any other spots where it's hitting. It definitely looks like that is worn off, this edge. Like you can see the tire hitting it, but this bolt also actually has a mark on it too. I wonder if it was hitting this bolt. Looks like it's kind of has some It has rubber on it, but it looks like it's worn, the paint's worn off. Anyway, the only way that we're going to be able to figure out what it is we got to put it back on the lift under compression with the suspension completely up and see what's hitting. So we have the Jeep on the lift right now, so I think that's gonna have to be another time, but that is where we're at. Big upset on the Rambler. We literally just got it running and driving since it's been sitting, and now it's completely broken again. But that's how it is. That's why we build these things. We build them and thrash them and we break them. So that's what's gonna happen. We definitely have a lot more work to do now to get ready for Power Tour, but we'll get it done and we will drive this thing on Power Tour. I'm determined. So we gotta fix the hood, we gotta realign the rear suspension, gotta get a new tire on this thing, and we gotta rewire it and do the fuel cell, do everything I already talked about. So we have a big list to do. You'll definitely see it on the next episode of Rusto Mod. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think we should do about this rear suspension. It has been rubbing on that same spot for a long time, so not really sure what is the issue with this. It's been blowing 2 tires now, so I'm not really sure if it's a moving or we have adjustable links and stuff, and you can check out that episode where I cover all that stuff right here. But that's what it is, and we're gonna have to dive deep into that and get this thing sorted because we don't want to be blowing out tires whenever we drive this thing on Power Tour. And we gotta get this hood fixed. But that's gonna do it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Really helps the channel out and trying to fund all these builds. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys on the next episode.